Respect the crowd, respect the fight. We bring the best, we can't hide. Respect the crowd, making the fencing. Respect the crowd, respect the fight. We bring the best, we can't hide. We dive deep into the stories behind the ring. Respect the crowd, breaking the fencing. Respect the crowd, respect the fight. We bring the best.
And we are live. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another edition of Respect the Craft. This is episode number 258, and we are joined here by the Jersey legend himself, representing the FBI. He is none other than Ray Jaz. What's going on, man? And we have lost Ray Jaz. Oh, can you hear us, Ray? Oh, there we go.
What's going on,
Can you
guys?
hear
How we doing today? How we doing? Good? Little
There we go.
connection.
There we go.
We got it. Down at the Jersey Shore. It's beautiful out today. Got my tan on. I'm feeling good, man. It's been a good
There
Monday.
you go. Awesome. No, glad we could fix that up there. I'm gonna blame this on Face. I feel like he's messing up our connection here already. He doesn't want us to
Trying
talk.
to infiltrate the mission here. He's trying to infiltrate.
So
It's a shame. It's a damn shame, but it's all right. The weather's nice, man. I got my tan on. I'm feeling good. It's almost
there you go.
Memorial Day weekend, so we're peaking at the right time.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So definitely let's get into this here. Before I get into any of the questions I want to ask, I have to ask you this one first, and that is, you heard the name of the show. It's called Respect the Craft. So for you, when you hear the term the craft, what does that mean?
Oh, the craft, man. That's wrestling, man, and been doing it since I've been in kindergarten. So who else is better to respect the craft than your Jersey legend, right?
So speaking of that, how you bring that up, I do want to talk about that transition for you, because it's no secret. Again, a very amazingly done collegiate athlete, NCAA athlete in NYU. Talk us through making that transition from collegiate style wrestling to deciding, you know what, I want to step into the squared circle here.
Right. I mean, there was little hints at it throughout my high school and college wrestling career. I come from a small town called South Plainfield, blue collar town. We're known for two things, right? Wrestling and having a good time, right? So when we were younger, man, that's all we grew up knowing was wrestling. And they built this big center. Bunch of blue collar parents just chipped in money, and we got four full size wrestling mats at the PAL. So we were wrestling and just grinding, man, at an early age, and it was a brotherhood, man. We're a 4 square town mile. We ended up being the number 1 team in the state 3 out of the 4 years I was there. Like, we were state champs, undefeated, and it was just a brotherhood, man. And then from coming to high school, I ended up getting into NYU, which is pretty legit school if you don't know. But you know, that in itself was pretty was pretty amazing, because you know, I'm just a kid from a blue collar town in New Jersey. It's like, you know, wrestling got me I wanted wrestling to get me into the best school it possibly could, and it did. NYU was legit, and you know, my hometown trained me well for college wrestling. So when I stepped into that NYU wrestling room, I went up to my coach. I saw the win record, right, and I was like, Big Bruce, guess what? I'm going to be number 1 up there. You watch. Oh, you're crazy. It's impossible. No one wrestles that many matches again. You know, 4 years later, I ended up having the most wins there, 149 wins. And I said, oh, it's impossible, huh? So I got that done. Most career. And then I also beat the single season record, too. I got 48 in 1 year. So I did that and broke the career win, and ended up taking 7th at the NCAA. So I was 7th in the country, which was great. And then that same year, three of my boys from high school that we grew up with, we all American the same time. One was a national champ, Anthony Ashnall. The other one was Scott Delvecchio, and the other one was Troy Heilman. So we're all boys to this day. It's great. Unfortunately lost one of our friends last week, Corey Sasenko. He was a beast, man. He was a state finalist. So it was a crazy accident that he got in, but he was one of our boys. So the town was hurting. So I always have to give him a shout out because we were drill partners in high school. So that's how close knit community my town is. And if you know anything about amateur wrestling, like South Plainfield, that's what we're known for.
Gotcha. No, my sincerest condolences, man. But that's awesome to hear that tight knit circle, having that support and being able to support each other and push you guys through. So again, all fields of life of you guys are doing. So again, killing it in that style, killing it there. How do we then get that interest in? You know what? I need to now keep filling this up and let's go pro wrestling now. When did that jump make
There's a
happen
few
for you?
things. So, believe it or not, when I was like in middle school, one of my strength coaches, one of my mentors, Zach Evanesh, he was good friends with the Ultimate Warrior. So Warrior would come in and fire us up, man. Just imagine like a middle school Ray Jaz and a bunch of wrestlers. Warriors just coming in there, fucking lifting, just getting like in your face, loud. Like if you were slacking, man, he would get right in your face, man. Like he was nuts, and he loved lifting. He loved lifting, and he always gave us advice. And man, I wish he was here today because now it makes so much sense. He goes, the best thing you could be is original. That's it. You're original, and you stay true to yourself and what you believe in. And I know, he gets a bad rap, but dude, like I've never met anyone with more passion than that. I met him when I was in middle school, and unfortunately, I didn't get to know him in my adult. He was always big on passion, man. I still haven't met anyone with that much passion, and not only just like wrestling, but what he stands for and what he believes in. Man, he was crazy. Whether you agree with him or not or whatever, it's like he believed in what he believed, and he was just passionate about it. And man, I wish he could have gave me some advice. Now would have been a good mentor for it, but fast forward years later, unfortunately he passed away, and I was done with college wrestling. I was in the peak of my career. They were getting rid of the Olympics that year, so they shaved it down to 10 weight classes. I was in that in between spot where it's like, I could cut all the way down or bulk all the way up. And it was until I met Bob Backlund, where Bob was, I was running the clinic in England, and the coach was pretty good friends with Bob. And I talked to Bob, and he goes, "Man, why not try pro wrestling? Go for it. Why not? I think you'd be a good fit. You're good with the kids. You're obviously good in college." So he got me in touch with Damian Adams, and it's been about almost 7 years now, and that's it, man. I started in 2018, right after my college season, and I haven't looked back since.
That's insane though. Again, the two names you mentioned to not at least try it out and give that push is
Right.
insane. Again, two Hall of Famers and then two
Yeah. Two very
insane.
different people.
Definitely, no, definitely so. Like different sides of the spectrum, if you will. But
Yeah.
also, they definitely both have that intensity though. Like
Oh,
it shows.
Bob is so passionate too, man. Like in different ways. Like Bob's old school as it gets, man. Like he would give me all this advice and like traveling on the road. Always keep a jar of peanut butter with you. I go, Bob, there's other snacks now. But Bob was good, man. Bob was like, you always got to find good riding partners, and then eventually, when I first started, I was on the road a lot with Robbie Strauss,
Yeah.
Robbie Stone. So he showed me the ins and outs of traveling and the little secrets of life on the road, as they say. If you have to go to the bathroom, always go to hotels instead of restrooms because it's cleaner. Anyone watching, it's a good, it's a
Yeah,
good little
that's a little good jazz tip right there. There you go.
little jazz tip. But Rob really, hammered me in on the independent wrestling culture and honestly how to be TV ready. Rob was big on that and just the little things, right? It's about the hardest transition for me, right? It wasn't the moves, it wasn't the training, like I had that. It was letting people in, right? Because when I was in college, I didn't want to let people see how I was training. You nuts? I didn't want my opponents to see that. You know, I did some crazy intense training in college. And I told Rob that I would show videos. He goes, "Bro, you just have to show that now. You have to show it and let the people see it. You know, let the people give a reason to people to come and see you wrestle, right?" And he taught me the importance of social media and using that audience, right? So once I got that, man, I was like, oh, so all I have to do is just show off what I'm doing. Great. I feel like I feel like the biggest jerk now, but I guess it works, right?
No, again, that presence, and it's such a different, again, different atmosphere of what you were doing the collegiate style. It's like, no, you want to keep that. You don't want to give away any of the trade secrets, any of that. With wrestling, it's like, no, showcase what you're doing. Show why you're looking the way you do. Show what that intensity brings, and it's
Right.
such a different beast now.
Yeah. And amateur wrestling's very stoic. You don't want to show emotion. You don't want to show anything. It's better now with interacting with the crowd after big wins. But my high school, we were taught to be stoic, man. Like you won. You're supposed to win. You know what I mean? There's no surprise that you won. Because that was our job. We go out
Yeah,
there and win. We were very stoic in it. Now you got to show off everything. You know, your pain, your emotion, your victory. Right now, it's just showing the emotion. So that was the other hardest part. Now it's good. You know, the other piece of advice I got, like every time you win, act like you just placed seventh again in the country. I go, okay. And if you lost, picture that time where you lost in the blood round your freshman year. Okay, great. You know, so that's kind of my level of emotion, um, as they say. But yeah, yep. So it's like, you know, that was the hardest, you know, and it's fun. I like it. I love it.
gotcha. And which is insane because it's the little things that it's like, oh, so that was the because it can make sense. Again, the in ring maybe not the hardest for you, especially making that transition because usually you see it, especially those that have been collegiate athletes. You could see how the groundwork is going to be in there, how that grappling, all that technical prowess, it's going to be perfect to make that transition. But then the little things of like, okay, now learning how to be open and be able to work the crowd and all that, those little things that you don't expect to be the hardest to pick up could be the best to just like, here we go. This is what we now need. Use that audience.
Right, and a lot of it is showing who you are too, right? Like you need the character, you need the persona, right? And another best thing is just be myself, man. Like I hang out at the Jersey Shore, like I hang out with my friends, I go to the beach. Yeah, I'm a wrestler. I like to work out. It's like that's all me, man. Everything that you see in the ring. Um, my family's very Italian. Like it's like just be myself. How hard is that, right? And show it off, you know. So everything that you see from in, you know, even Guido or even Zach Clayton with the FBI, we're all authentic. We're us. That's how we are. Like it's funny. Like dude, I'm at the Jersey Shore right now, chilling, man. Like I just got off the beach. Like that's the way we live, man. Gym tan laundry. It's not fake. It's a real Jersey thing.
Got you. No, that's too perfect right there. But before we keep going, I do want to shout out Skills in the chat. What's going on? Skills are great. Representing wrestling is now right there. He's definitely looking forward to this convo, and we definitely got a lot to talk about. Because before we get into that, because I do want to talk about the FBI and that amazing family you guys have there. I do want to touch on that. I want to touch on that upcoming match at Wrestling is Now Winner Circle coming up in less than 2 weeks away. You made your presence felt though at the last Wrestling is Now event right after a hellacious match at Heart Attack. Well, it was defending invitational champion Face against wrestling legend Crowbar, and you made your presence felt and known that you'll be coming for that invitational championship. So talk us through this and your thoughts going into this one at Winner Circle on June 1st.
Yeah, so I heard a little bit of it. You cut out a little bit, but
Oh no.
June 1st.
Yes. Again, unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, we have a little bit of a tech issue. So Hopefully, but June 1st, you are going in there with Face. So
Right.
your thoughts going into that one?
Yeah, man. Should be interesting, right? I believe it's going to be a set of new rules. I'm not 100% sure, but I am. I'm confident in my abilities. I am confident that this is going to be a pretty good match. I've been scouting him, seeing what he's been doing. Crowbar is a good friend of mine, so he's been filling me in on some scouting. Um, but I'm looking forward to it, man. Every time there's a chance to wrestle in New York City, I love it because I lived there for so many years, going to college there. And it's funny, dude. I've wrestled more in California, New England over the past year, year and a half, 2 years than I actually have in New York City and New Jersey. It's crazy, but that's why I love putting on a show in New York. Get some buddies there, and then get the people going, man. There's nothing like a New York City crowd, man. You can't BS a New York City crowd, man. They'll eat you alive. Um, so I'm looking forward to this one.
Definitely, again, I'm looking forward to calling this match as I will be one of the narrators of the night. But definitely looking forward to seeing what happens because when you made your official debut there at Win at the last show, I was like, oh, this invitational division just got even crazier now. Because again, I've gotten to see you. I've seen you before at Catless Wrestling, and just seeing the work you've done, it's like, oh, this is gonna be interesting to see you two square off. And I know Face is not one to back down from a challenge, but I don't know if he's ready for the Jersey Legend here.
I don't think anyone is, man. I don't think anyone's ready for the Jersey Legend. I could throw anything at them. They don't know. They don't know what's coming.
This is true. This is true. Again, he's one that he likes to do that technical game, but again, that collegiate background, NCAA for a reason. We'll see what happens. We shall see what happens here. But now, again, you mentioned it earlier. You mentioned the family. I'm going to show the picture here. I got to talk about how did this become a thing? How did we truly get to the new era here of the FBI? How do we get your bond here with the legendary man himself, Little Guido, Nunzio, man of many names? How do we get this bond here? And now also bringing in Zach Clayton.
I love it, man. This is great. I freaking love it. Because like I said before, like we're we're real, we're authentic. Like it's fun. Like he's like the uncle I never had. Like it's crazy. Like we met each other maybe when I first started, and it was like I'd known him my whole life. Like he's basically my godfather. Like he's from Nanuet, New York, so it's like that New York Jersey similarities, a little bit of rivalry, but he is the man, dude. I love Guido. He's done so much for me, and dude, it's literally like a family bond. Like he's legit. Like he's kind of I call him my godfather. He's my wrestling godfather. We take care of each other. We've been working together for about 2.5 years now. And we have each other's back. We hang out a lot. I know his family pretty well now, and it's like he's like my uncle. It's crazy. So we did work with MLW a few times, and then we were wrestled on the independents. So we brought back the FBI, and then yeah, TNA gave us the opportunity, and Zach Clayton joined us, and I love that even more. As a kid, of course, when living at the Jersey Shore in Seaside Park, where my mother lived, I would see those. I would see the Jersey Shore cast. I mean, Zach's my age too, but to have him in there, it's like it just makes sense. You know what I mean? It makes sense. We talk every day. Me, Guido, and Zach. We talk every single day. And it's not even just about wrestling. It's about life. You know what I mean? Just life, what we're doing. Like we really are. We're growing this bond it's a real family. You know what I mean? We look after each other. We make sure everyone's improving, and we make sure we're having a good time too, because that's what it's all about, right?
No, that is awesome to hear. And again, you could see it like you could see you the organic just reaction from you guys and how you guys are, that chemistry there. It isn't something that could just be like, let's put these guys together just because they all have that heritage. It's like, no, you see the organic chemistry, you see that just bond you guys have. It can't be replicated. It can't be something where, oh, let's just make this.
Right.
Like,
Yeah, and that's exactly what we're thinking. Well, you know, Zach is that's his name is the reality, and what this new FBI is, it's the reality. It's the reality of the FBI. It's the reality of Ray Jaz, the reality of Guido, the reality of Zach Clayton. Right? Guido himself is an interesting guy. You know, he loves he loves his things a certain way, and that's how he's going to do it. He's still an animal, man. He's still an animal on and off the mat. You know, and I think he's my favorite person ever.
no, and it fits so well because he's another one. Like seeing him live the few times I have, even as of recently wrestling against Sammy Callahan, I'm like, the fact that he's still such a great shooter in that ring, like he hasn't missed a step when it comes to that squared circle, is wild with Guido.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, man. He's got it, dude. He's got it. And then Zach, man, Zach is the man. I love Zach too. He helps me out a lot too. Like I said, we have each other's back with everything. You know what I mean? Like Zach is in the realm of a lot of different things.
yep.
So I make sure I pick his brain on all that stuff too.
I
You
was gonna
know,
say, yeah, that is insane. Again, doing what he does, being a part of so many businesses, being a part of it, it's no secret. We see it on Jersey Shore, but then deciding to still follow his passion of being a part of the ring in the ring as well. It's
yeah,
insane to manage all that.
he loves pro wrestling. He loves it. And you could tell, you know, you have to love it to do it. So all three of us love it. So that's part of it. But Zach, man, like I said, he loves pro wrestling, and you know he does other things too. You know, I always pick his brain about stuff like that because it's important. It gets you to the next level of where you want to be. And he knows a lot. So it's great. Great addition. Like I said, we're basically a big family at this point.
No,
And
you love
it's
to see it.
organic, man. You know, me and him are in Jersey. We're Jersey boys. Guido, we're trying to get him to move a little south, but it's probably not going to happen. But he's close enough where we could hang out for a weekend down at the shore. It happens. You know what I mean? And that's the beauty of it. And I think you only saw a little bit of what we could do. We just scratched the surface. So there's going to be a lot more of exciting things that we could do, man. We got all these ideas, and we're looking forward to it, man. We're looking forward to showing it off, man, because we've been saying it. They ain't seen nothing yet. It's exciting.
Can't wait. Again, like just the stuff that you guys have been doing so far. I was watching earlier today one of the matches you guys had uh with Myron Reed from the Rascals, and just seeing that, like, there's little things of just that taste of what you guys can do in there as a unit. Again, it's to tell what could happen next, or even where it could happen next, because I see shout out to VXS in the chat where they gave a little bit of a taste again to Little Guido recently. They
Mhm.
had their vignette that they filmed with another member, I guess you could say, of the family, Dominic De Niro, who Guido has his relationship with Dom. So who knows? Again, could we see the FBI make its way to VXS eventually? Who knows
Maybe,
what could happen? Who
maybe.
knows what could happen?
I think I saw that vignette. Is that the one they were asking? They did it at like a diner in Nanuet.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
That was pretty sick. That was a good one.
That's what
Cool.
led to that match with Sammy Callahan, which, again, the vignette was crazy. That was a crazy vignette, but led to an amazing match, which if you guys haven't already, make sure you check that out. Little Guido versus Sammy Callahan from VXS. It was, again,
They watched
insane to
the
see.
vignette. Yeah, that vignette was great.
Yeah.
I go to Gwen. I'm like, what are you, an actor now? Look at that. Look how great that is.
Oh, hey man, you gotta do everything. Gotta do everything
Yeah,
now.
man, he has it. He freaking still has it. You watch his there was a clip of him wrestling in Japan that was on Twitter. And he was you ever watch that clip?
I'm trying to remember it now while you mention it, but I'm like, it's not clicking with me right now.
Yeah, go and find that clip, man. He was an animal. Well, he could still turn it on like that.
No,
Yeah.
yeah, and that's something when I saw him first time I got to see him in person after so long was at a Full Faith Wrestling show, and I was like, man, he's still as quick and
He'll
as
sweep that leg, man. He'll
Yep.
sweep it. He'll still drop the Sicilian slice on you. He's got it.
Hey, again, that's what happens when you have that true respect for your craft and you're just that as good in the ring. It just stays there. It's like riding a bike, like we say. He's
Yeah.
aging like fine wine. That's all it is. He's aging like fine wine.
Yeah, we have our own pre-match routine. I won't get into it too much. We have our pre-match routine. And then I tape both of their wrists now. I do the Italian flag wrist tape. You see that?
Yep,
You
we've,
know that
we've definitely seen that before.
I do that to Guido, and then I do it to Zach, and that's it. We get in the ring, you get fired up. Guido gives me a big smack, a little bit harder than I want to, but it fires me up.
I was gonna say you could see it there. Shout out to again. Look at that amazing pic. You see the wrist tape right there. So there you
Well,
go.
he's not wearing it there.
He's not wearing his. Zach and you are wearing.
He didn't
But
want to wear it that one because he said, you tape it too tight. Wait until we actually go on. I go, all right. We won't do it for the picture because it's not like the picture's not important.
it's not like it's gonna be used somewhere else, possibly on graphics and stuff like that. No, it's just why not? Why not?
I do tie it kind of tight on him. I think I do that a little bit on purpose sometimes.
Hey, it amps him up a little bit. Now that
Yeah,
that's the circulation's getting to him. That's all it is. That's
yeah,
all it is.
yeah.
But again, you mentioned wrestling all over now. But one of the last times I did see you in New York was at Callous Wrestling. Shout out to
Right.
Callous Wrestling making its return very soon. But unfortunately, the last time you were at Callous, it unfortunately was in the losing end. It was a part of trying to crown a new TV champion against the Savage Gentleman himself, Victor Benjamin, and the legend himself, Jack Evans from the Heavens. But I got to ask you again, unfortunately, you were seconds away from possibly becoming the next TV champion. Your thoughts on Callous Wrestling and what they could be seeing from the Jersey legend himself in the future?
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, I lost that triple threat. I mean, I wasn't the one that got pinned, so did I really lose? Who knows? But Catalyst, I love going there. I love working for them. Like I said, anytime I get a chance to wrestle in New York City, I love it, especially for them. They always put on a great show, great staff. It's awesome, and I love wrestling for them. What's next for me? I honestly don't know. I know I was in a little stable there, so maybe we'll keep that going with Zach. So that was fun. That was a lot of fun. So we'll see what happens, man. We'll still. I think we got a date down in July, so that's great. What's going on, Greek Savage? How you doing? Um, so I'm actually looking forward to it because, like I said, I ended last time I was there. I ended in a loss. I don't take losing too well.
Yeah,
In college I lost very rarely. And if I lost, it was to the same person a couple times. So I always remember the losses. I don't really remember the wins too much. I
yeah.
could rally off all the kids that beat me in college. It wasn't a lot, but I could rally them off.
I was gonna say with the amount of wins you have, it's like, can you really have like, well, I beat this person, this person? That's like, that'd be a long time to start picking those
Right.
wins there.
You always remember the losses. The
Yeah,
losses always come back to haunt you. Especially the close ones. Especially the semis at the NCAs. It always comes to haunt you.
gotcha. But no, again, it's good to hear. And again, we can't wait to see what happens next with Catalyst Wrestling. Again, their upcoming date to be announced. So definitely stay tuned for that. And here we go. We got Greek Savage saying, keep up the great work, stud, looking more like a superstar each and every day. Definitely so. Again, this is why he's the Jersey legend there. The
I think
Jersey
it's the
legend.
beard and the long hair. This is something new. I like it. I'm trying it out Memorial Day weekend. See if it gets over during the show, the Jersey Shore Memorial Day weekend. Let's see if it does. But I like it. Finally
Mhm.
grew out a beard, so I guess I'm growing up a little bit.
There you go. There you go. Always gotta just try out different things. You never know. Never know what could work there.
Well, I never
But
had an opportunity to grow it out because college they made you shave it. Now you don't have to shave it, but you know, yeah,
oh, okay, that's now
they
you
would.
get a little more freedom with it at least.
Yeah, if your hair was too long, you had to put a cap on, and if you had to shave or they had to check your nails. I think they got rid of that rule now, so it's good. They're letting these kids have more freedom with their hair and beard.
I was gonna say, is that direction of do you like that they're making it a little more lenient now, or is it like, hey, I had to go through
They,
this, so
they
why
changed it
don't they?
completely with the NILs, and then now they changed how the rules are. So now a takedown's 3 points in college, and they just changed it to high school too. So a takedown's 3 points. Well, the high school they changed it too. So you could get like more back points. A reversal's only two. So they changed the takedown rule. It's 3 points, which is a huge change. It's a giant change. The college did it last year. High school's going to implement it this year. So it's almost like a completely different game, you know. And then the NILs and all these transfer things, it's different, you know, and it's good. It's good for the college guys, man, because now they get opportunities. Like you could stay in college for 7 years and do pretty well for yourself at this point. Um, for me, I mean, for me, for an NIL and being in New York City for that long, I don't know, it would have been a different story. So it could be dangerous too. But I think a lot of these coaches are being more safe with stuff and making
Gotcha.
sure, there's some rules in place, man. Because there's nothing like a college kid getting a lot of money, especially just to be an athlete. But they're getting money, man. It's good, rightfully so, because it's a hard sport, man. I couldn't imagine what some of these football players are getting, though. They're probably getting a lot.
No, yeah, definitely that pay now is definitely. But again, it's definitely at least from putting in that effort, putting in that work. It's definitely hey, the compensation starts to match. Hopefully, that hard work and all that ethic that goes into all that as well.
Yeah, I don't know if I like the new rule changes. With the 3-point takedown. I
Yeah,
mean, as a coach now, it's weird for me to like coach because it's a different set of rules. Like the technique's always going to be the same, So it keeps me on my toes as a coach for these kids. Because now strategy comes more when you're doing dual meets and wrestling other teams. It's like, well, now if you get a major, it's like a takedown and a couple. If you know anything about wrestling and scores, it's if I'm confusing you, it's all right.
no,
Um,
it's all good. I'm more thinking about. I'm trying to. I was working on that of like for you now still being involved. How has that been? That process of now like it's almost like with our craft here of professional wrestling. That's like I guess you're always going to be learning. There's never a moment of like, hey, we can just coast by a little bit. It's like no, now you're always learning what
right.
could be different, what can be done now, and especially with rule changes. It's like okay, so now the strategy has to be a little different when it
Yeah.
comes to this.
And I call it the white belt mentality. Because I'm also a mindset coach. I work with like athletes all around the country. It's the white belt mentality where you can learn from anyone in any situation, right?
Gotcha.
You always have to have an open mind with everything. Especially with pro wrestling. Like I learn every time I get to an arena or get to a show or like there's always a lesson to be learned, whether it's working a crowd or some of the veterans in the locker room or just anything, man. White belt mentality, especially from the veterans, man. They've been through everything, in this crazy business of professional wrestling. Um, because there is a lot to learn. Like even if you know everything, there's still more to learn because it's always evolving and changing, and it's a grow. My goal in just wrestling, and I like to group both of them together, is just grow the sport, right? And I believe pro wrestling really does grow the sport of amateur wrestling. You know what I mean? Like if they see guys on TV wrestling, well, what do I do to get there? Well, you should do college wrestling or high school wrestling or join the middle school team. That's a way to get into it. And the beauty of like amateur wrestling now, it's growing. It is growing. Like even with the women's, like New Jersey has their own girl states now. They go to Atlantic City and everything, and that's women's wrestling is the fastest growing sport in America, and it's exciting to watch, man. It really is. It's giving them opportunities, giving them scholarships to go to college. Like it's awesome. Like and I hate that they say, "Oh, amateur wrestling, no, it's not growing." I go, "Yes, it is. What are you looking at? What kind of numbers are you looking at? Because it grows."
Yeah.
I coach at Bridgewater High School, and they support what I do because they know I'm all. When I'm coaching them, I'm all in. And then it's
No.
funny when they watch me wrestle or TNA or at Beyond or anything. They all tune in. They catch me like, "Coach, oh look, you won that one," or "Coach, what happened? You lost." And they make sure they bust my chops if I lose. And that's important. That's why I love coaching where I coach because they support what I do. Um, there was always a stigma in amateur wrestling, like always a stigma. I coach
Gotcha.
because they appreciate what I do, and I appreciate them. I give them everything that I had, from kindergarten to when did I graduate? Till 22, right? I give them a lifetime of knowledge, and I have their backs. I call them my bros, man, because like they you need a coach that could not only like show the way but go the way, because I'm on the mat with them a lot too.
Gotcha.
Um,
Gotcha. So you
and
still have that hands-on approach with it which is awesome because again, that shows something else of just like, hey, we're in there. It still has that respect and just
Yeah.
that core value.
Yeah, and I always tell him, I'm only giving you 20%. Now imagine if I gave you 100.
Gotta scare him a little bit. Like, hey, if I went full on here, which again, gotta match that intensity, man. You had Warrior giving you that intensity. You gotta bring
Yeah,
that to the kids now.
yeah, that's how it is, man. It's how it is.
Oh man. But no, I do want to bring it back to this because, like you said, you have been traveling around, you have been working around. We talked about confirmed matches you have coming up and stuff you've had in the past, but let's talk a little bit about that. Have you been scouting anyone that you'd like to share that squared circle with? Is there anyone on the Jersey Legends eyes that you like to go in there with, be it at Beyond, be it at possibly a future win, or even at Catalyst?
Yeah, I mean, of course, like matchups and people you want to wrestle, man. I want to wrestle Nick Nemeth, Dolph Ziggler. I want to wrestle him. Man, he wrestled for Kent State, and one of my coaches at NYU wrestled at the same high school he did, St. Ed's in Ohio. So I want to wrestle him, not only for my assistant coach Nick Solzer. Shout out Nick Solzer. I think Nick was it's Nick Solzer, Nick Nemeth. So Nick Nemeth was a little bit older than him, but I think Nick wrestled with Solzer's brother, so that'd be cool if I got to wrestle with Nick Nemeth. That would be sweet.
Gotcha.
That'd be cool. That'd be pretty awesome. Especially with the two, similar backgrounds, and
Yeah,
man, he doesn't get enough credit, man. Like he's been in this business for a long time, and he's been doing it at a high level, and it'd be great. It'd be great to mix it up with him. Um, Kind of like the modern day Kurt Angle. That's every amateur wrestler's like dream match is always Kurt Angle.
of course.
But for me, it's Nick Nemeth. So that'd be pretty cool.
No, that'd definitely be awesome again to see that similar style in there. Definitely similar come up from that. Definitely would be cool to see. And again, you never know what could happen. You
Yeah,
never know. Always stay
never
tuned.
know. Anything could happen in this world of pro wrestling.
Definitely so. But again, you bring up that name, you bring up the Kurt Angles of the world. But I feel like, and I know, again, he is a part of the one of the major companies right now. But who knows? Again, you never know what could happen in wrestling. Would a match with a guy like Chad Gable ever be something you would want to
Yeah, Chad
happen?
Gable. Chad Gable would be great, man. He was a Greco guy, so he was
Yeah,
on the Olympic team, man. So he
yeah.
knows his throws, dude. He knows his throws. That would be pretty cool. I never. I don't think I never personally met him, like through amateur wrestling. He's an older guy. But Riddle actually, when he was at East Stroudsburg, when I was a kid, we would do camps up there. So I would remember seeing him wrestle. And then eventually he went to the UFC. So that would be another cool one to do.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
yeah, because East Stroudsburg's not far from me. It's about an hour and a half. Yeah. We would always wrestle PA teams over there. Yeah.
Gotcha. So there you go. Those are three names right there. Again, that would be good to see. Again, you never know what could happen, folks. You
Yeah.
never know what could happen. So definitely stay tuned to that because yeah,
I just like it because I think it's full circle
yeah,
moments.
of
There's
course.
a personal connection to kind of both of them. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's like I really want to wrestle the Dolph because I really want to show it to my assistant coach at NYU.
They're like,
And
here
it's
you go. Look
funny.
what
I don't
it's
know
that
if I,
full connection there.
and I don't know if I could say it doesn't matter. So he works. So Nick Solzer works for the real FBI. Like the government one, and I am part of the FBI, a full-blooded Italian. So it's like that connection too.
There you
I
go.
go.
That's a
I tell them every time. I go, Does your FBI do this?" And I would send them a picture or a video.
oh. I don't think they unfortunately are as colorful as your FBI, but
Definitely
it
not.
works it works out. But Ray, again, I don't want to take up too much more of your time here because, like you said, a busy man. So before I let you go, I do have one final question I want to ask you, and you kind of answered it a bit, but I'm going to still ask it here, and that is for Ray Jazz. What is the end goal, man?
The end goal, like I said, to grow the sport. Grow the sport of pro wrestling, grow the sport of just wrestling in general. Of course, everyone wants to make it to the top, and I do. I do want to make it to the top. But I think when you have a goal, there should be a purpose behind it. So, of course, my goal is to take this to the highest level, right? World champion in the top company, right? But my purpose and why I want to be at the top is to grow the sport. and show people that you can have a goal and you can work for it. And like I said, I want kids to watch me on TV and say I want to do that, and they're gonna go in and do rec wrestling and eventually middle school wrestling, high school, college wrestling. It's the trickle down effect of growing the sport, and I think that's the purpose, man. Because like you have to have a goal and you have to have a purpose to do it, and that's what I tell all my mindset guys. It's like everyone and their mother has a goal, but why do you want to do it? What's your purpose behind it? That's the passion, baby. Boom.
Got you. That works. No, again, it's perfect to look at it. And again, a deeper way even to get into that. So that definitely works out. Guys, if you haven't already, make sure you are following Ray on all of his social medias there. Follow him on Instagram right there, Ray_Jaz. Follow him on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, at Real Ray Jaz right there. Links to follow both will be in the description down below. And again, don't forget to come see him live in Queens, as it will be Winner's Circle June 1st. He'll be taking on the Feral Face for that Wrestling Is Now Invitational Championship. And definitely stay tuned, as a lot more is coming from the Jersey legend himself. And there we go. We got the SAT making its way. Theos, we're about to sign off. But
I can
there you go.
stay for a little longer if he wants to hop in real quick.
Hold on. Let me send the link to the legend himself. Give me 1 sec. Because I feel like he might want to make a comment or two here to the Jersey legend. So just give us
I
1
can
second,
stay
ladies
on.
and
I
gentlemen.
can stay on.
Just 1 second, ladies and gentlemen, so we get one of the SAT in the building here. So there we go. There we go. But again, while we wait here, I do want to ask this for anyone that possibly is considering that. Maybe they're thinking about joining the collegiate style of wrestling, maybe in their middle school, their high school. Any tips for them? Any recommendations you would make for possibly wanting to join that in their younger years?
Any jazz tips to
Yep.
joining the wrestling team? Um, you have to be all in. It's not seasonal anymore, right? You have to be lifting. You have to go to a club. You have to find a good partner. And I like to say find a good coach, but sometimes with high schools and stuff, sometimes that's not the case. But you kind of have to forge your own path sometimes. But you got to make that commitment. You know what I mean? And you can't have 1 foot in, 1 foot out. With a sport like wrestling. Um, and that's it. It's a tough sport, but it's the best sport in the world, dude. Because the characteristics and just the life lessons you get from wrestling, man, it's unmatchable in any other sport. You know what I mean? Like you learn true life lessons on that mat that you're gonna take away with you in life. You know what I mean? It toughens you
Gotcha.
up.
Gotcha.
You know?
No, there you go. Again, those are your tips right there for anyone watching. Again, I definitely, I was in the high school I went to. I was part of Grant Street campus. They definitely were big. The Wolves were definitely something that you saw that core intensity there. How much they loved the sport, and I was lucky to bring, funny enough, a show. We brought an indie show to my high school because I was
Okay.
like, hey, they had that love for it, and it definitely it had that deeper respect for the craft there, because they definitely were a big into their team there. So
Yeah.
always love to see that collegiate level and just the love and respect for the sport.
Yeah, it's funny like being part of like college and amateur wrestling. You could go anywhere in this country, and if you know someone that amateur wrestled, you just automatically have a mutual friend. It's
Yeah.
weird.
No, it works out. Again, it's that camaraderie of it all. It's like, hey, you know how much work that goes into it. You know, just that struggle, the again, the
Cutting
intensity that goes in,
weight
all
and
that. Yeah.
that's the other thing. Don't cut too much weight. I cut too
I,
much weight. In high school.
Yeah, one of my brothers, man, from high school. I always would see him do the things he would do to cut weight, and I'm just like, oh man, the insanity of certain things that he had to do. And he was one that always was like, last week you would know when a match was about to happen, when it's like, yep, he's with sour candies or doing this or that. It's like
I used to yell
cutting
at
weight.
people to give me a piece of gum because I was so dehydrated from cutting weight.
Oh
Yeah.
man, like that is insane. But again, I give you guys the insane respect for that, because again, it's showing that commitment to it, wanting to do whatever it takes to truly excel in the sport. So
We're
I give it
crazy
to you
people.
guys.
Crazy, but the best people.
Hey, it works out. But I'm being told, okay, they unfortunately can't make it. So we're gonna unfortunately again give our goodbyes once again here. Like I already said, links will be in the description down below. Make sure you are following the Jersey legend there. Stay up to date with all things Ray Jazz. Again, also to be able to see more things coming up for the family right there of the FBI. So we thank you again, Ray, for joining us and everyone watching. Don't forget to be wise, be genuine, be real, be better people. Respect the craft. And we'll see you guys on the next one.
Be good,
Peace.
guys. Thank you for having me. I